Tell me what's important to you, and I'll show you what that looks like and help you to see that you can do those things and you're not going to jeopardize your financial security and you're going to live a great life.
Welcome to an Encore podcast presentation from Forbes Books at ForbesBooks.com.
I am here with Patti Brennan. She's the CEO of Key Financial, the wealth management firm. It's keyfinancialinc.com. And Patti, I don't know why this is, but when I was reading about you and getting ready to talk to you for this interview, I felt like I knew you. And once we met, I don't think we ever met, but you must be a legendary person because I already knew so much about you and your approach to business and your view of the world and life that it's like you've had a presence in my life, even though I'm serious about this. I felt like I knew you.
Wow, Greg, thank you so much. I can't think of a bigger compliment. You know, we meet so many people and you want to have that sense of rapport and kinship, and the fact that you felt that way, because that's exactly what you said when we met. You said, I feel like I know you.
Yes.
And I don't know that we would have ever come across each other before, but thank you for that. That's wonderful.
I think, first of all, obviously you are in a sense in the rapport business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to talk about what you do at Key Financial, but at the end of the day, you are dealing with people in one of the most sensitive areas of their lives, right?
Absolutely. And you'd be surprised when people come into the office. They want somebody that they can that will listen to them and really make them feel understood, that they can share their deepest fears with and
aspirations.
Exactly.
I mean, it's also, it's dreams and fears, right?
And they won't be judged.
Yes.
That is the most important thing. They won't be judged. I tell people all the time, boy, you should see what I spend money on. So please don't worry about
Now I want to know. What do you spend money on? Come on, just a few little confessions here.
Okay, so I have 4 kids, so it's going to be my kids.
Okay.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, there's a little bit of retail therapy when I've been working 24/7.
So can you describe, it
tends to be books.
I like that. I'm comfortable with you loving books.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I'm always trying to learn and grow. A new outfit every once in a while certainly doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So, hearing you say that, and I'm sure you're really, in the face of your clients feeling like it has to be a safe space, then I would imagine you being honest about your foibles and your weaknesses also helps people feel more comfortable in sharing. And you know what? It's your money. I mean, if it's not illegal or immoral, you should do. Who cares what the neighbors think?
It's so true. That's what I tell people all the time. This is your money. It represents so many years of hard work and sacrifice, raising kids, making decisions, laying awake at night. It's your everything. And your money really is a means to an end. So let's talk about what you'd like that to do in your life and in the lives of the people that you love most.
Yes.
And so that's a lot of fun when we really break it down that way. We do all the number crunching and running scenarios and stress tests and really trying to identify in advance what could kind of sink the ship.
Yes.
So that we can avoid those things. And there are different...
So where could we go if we already knew that the odds of sinking the ship were almost eliminated?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Where could we go?
Right.
Where could this journey take us?
Absolutely. And it's such a it's a liberating process because it helps people realize that they can pretty much do what they want. It's just a matter of how long they're willing to wait, et cetera, and the sacrifices that the discipline that they have. It's not that difficult, though. It really isn't. It's just to have a guide, break it down, simply build a little bit of feedback mechanism to say, hey, we've been working on this. This isn't quite working the way that we wanted. Let's try plan B.
Is it fair to say that, in a sense, part of your role is money therapist?
A lot of people say that to me, especially husbands and wives, because a lot of times they have different objectives and to work to find that happy medium.
So actually getting them to talk about that so that they can... I could imagine in a marriage, I am married, I could imagine in a marriage that if you do it right with someone like Patti Brennan's help, you could have different objectives and then find that actually, no, we have the same objectives because we support each other in having our individual different objectives, as opposed to he goes off and spends on that, she goes off and spends on that. Who wants to spend the rest of your life with that kind of conflict in your relationship? I don't.
Well, I got to tell you, Greg, it's amazing that you nailed it. I'm ready to hire you, by the way. It's amazing. Because at the end of the day, people who are married tend to have the same values. Mm-hmm. So the values are the same. It may be how you get to that end result, and
yes,
they might think differently in terms of how to get. But the values are the same, and we focus on that. What's important to you about your money?
Yes.
What else is important? Why is that important? What do you think about? What? So it's just asking the right questions.
Yeah. So I would imagine, and I think I'm asking this for myself selfishly, but I think it will be relevant for other people as well. I would imagine that there are situations where people come to you and they have all the money.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
As much money as they need, right?
Yes.
I mean,
mm-hmm.
They could have the most incredible life they wanted starting today because the money is there. But the problem is they won't or don't know how to give themselves permission to do what their dreams are made of.
And they don't realize that they can. They don't realize that they're holding on. They spent so many years saving and accumulating the assets, and it's hard to kind of recognize that, hey, you made it.
I almost
You're
have to be a
there.
different person.
Yeah, exactly. And to really be able to have an independent third party to say, let me kind of show you what this could mean in your life. Tell me what's important to you, and I'll show you what that looks like and help you to see that you can do those things and you're not going to jeopardize your financial security.
Yes.
And you're going to live a great life feeling so fulfilled that, wow, you had a meaningful impact on the people that you love the most.
Yeah. So what is your background? I'm talking with Patti Brennan. She's the CEO of the company Key Financial. They're a wealth management firm, as you are hearing. The website is keyfinancialinc.com. What is your background? How did you get to this place of A, wanting to be part of this industry, and B, really discovering that you have this talent for helping people to get to that place?
Okay, so you're ready? You're going
I think so.
You're going to fall off your chair here, Greg. I think just be ready. So, because a lot of people think, because I went to Georgetown, and boy, you must have been a business major, finance major, MBA, the whole bit. I had nothing of the sort.
Huh.
I was an intensive care nurse.
Really?
Yep.
So you weren't studying it. You actually graduated, and that was your career.
It was my career.
Really?
Took my boards. Worked on oncology first, and then ended up working in an intensive care unit.
Huh.
So the question is that I often am asked, how in the world did you ever go from nursing to running one of the largest financial planning firms in the country? How did you go from one to the other, and why did you go there?
See, I actually think it's kind of obvious.
Interesting. So tell me more.
What I would think is obvious.
Tell me why.
You're watching people die and their families watching them die, and all the regret and all the mismanagement and all the it could have been different.
You realize that when it really comes down to it, there are two things that are important to people, Greg. Their health and their money.
Yeah.
The people that they love. It's all about that. And
unfortunately, we often don't realize that until someone's on their deathbed.
Right, exactly. And there
that's
is
part
a lot
of what you
that.
saw.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of remorse. There's a lot of regret. And so basically it is the practical thing. How can we help you accomplish the things that are most important to you, retire in comfort, without ever having to worry about income, things of that nature. And it's also to help people in that, the last 8,000 days. I'm on the MIT Longevity Council. It's a wonderful thing that they have at the Age Lab. And I'm working with MIT, and it's been so amazing. They basically frame retirement into 4 different phases. The first phase is the ambiguity. The second phase is big decisions, and it goes on and on. And really, the last phase, the third phase, is dealing with complexity. And then the last phase is living solo. And I often tell clients, especially husbands and wives, there will be a point in time when I'm sitting at this conference table with one of you. That's when it really matters.
And that really drives home the point.
Drives home so many points, because while you're both alive, let's make this a meaningful season of life. Live your best life. You know, I've been saying that for 20 years, and now everybody's saying it. Kind of bums me out.
Well, but it means you were successful.
Right. So, you know, and really, what is your best life? Let's define what that looks like, and really dig deep with that, and then take your assets, your resources, and help to accomplish those things with, at the end of the day, it's all about peace of mind. Helping people feel organized and in control, knowing that they can take care of themselves and their loved ones, and really that all of their resources are completely optimized. They're saving all the money in the taxes. It's, you know, their portfolio is optimized. They've got a stream of income they can never outlive. Wills and trusts are sending letters. It's really a beautiful thing to be able to say, this is what I would like to have happen, and these are my values, and to pass that on to the people that you love.
You know, I started this interview by saying I felt like I knew you. I'm talking with Patti Brennan. She's the CEO of Key Financial, the wealth management firm there at keyfinancialinc.com. And now I realize why I felt like I knew you is because long before I met you, for some reason, and maybe it's because you're publishing a book with Forbes Books, I was on your website. And what I got from your website, which is not easy to capture on a website, was exactly what you just said. Like your website, for gosh sakes, long before I talked to you, your website changed my view of my financial future in my relationship with my wife.
Wow.
That's why I thought I knew you.
That is amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of people use website designers and do all of that. And I have to tell you that I started to work, and there are people who helped us with the graphics and stuff. At the end of the day, I wrote every word because there's no surprise
that I felt like I knew you.
It just is a reflection of our philosophy.
Yes.
And by the way, it's not only me. I'm the CEO. It is.
How big is the company?
We have 25 full-time employees.
Okay.
I'm the advisor. I'm the brand. I'm the person that people refer to as, say, my person is Patti Brennan. I don't do any of this without these amazing people.
Sure.
I've got CFAs, MBAs, amazing people, and they do all of the number crunching. They give me the tools to be able to look you in the eyes and say, you know, Greg, you're going to be okay. All of the things that we've talked about, here's how, and it's very specific. Here's how you're going to be able to do it. We're going to walk with you every step of the way. We're going to monitor it to make sure what you're hoping for is actually occurring. And if it isn't, we're going to go plan B.
Adjustment. And, you know, to that point of you not doing it alone, I wouldn't want you doing it alone. I mean, I'm going to draw an analogy here. It is way overblown, but I still think it's fair. Warren Buffett has all the same people. Warren Buffett does not walk into his desk in the morning and go, let's do this. He's got a lot more than 25 people, I'm sure, doing exactly what your team is doing to enable him to be the success that he is, just like that team helps you to be the success that you are together as a team. You couldn't do it without them.
You know, Greg, you are so intuitive. You're so smart. Again, we never met each other before. It's amazing how you are able to bubble up what's really important.
Now, if I could just manage my money a little better.
It's interesting because I heard somebody once say that at the end of the day, all of the really super successful people like the Warren Buffetts and the Elon Musks and all the great leaders, whether they be government, business, nonprofit, what have you, we're all kind of walking flaws. We've got a lot of things. There's a lot of things I do not do well. I kind of figured what I'm pretty good at and I let everybody else do the other stuff.
Yeah.
And it works really well.
That's so incredibly full of common sense. Why would you do the stuff you're not good at when it's so easy to find someone who's good at it and loves it, right?
It's interesting. I learned this very early in my career. I had a wonderful, wonderful employee who has since passed away, and I was doing something. I was doing some paperwork or something, and I said, I'm not really all that detail oriented. I have a real big picture sense. I can communicate complicated concepts in easy terms, but the detail stuff, I'd rather leave that to others. And I said to Helen, that's really a weakness. I got to work on this. I need to get better at that. And she stopped me dead cold, Greg. And she said, Patti, she said, I disagree. She said, you know what happens when you work on your weaknesses? You end up with a lot of strong weaknesses.
Yeah. And you neglected your strong points.
Right. Focus on your strengths, delegate your weaknesses.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, I have one last question for you, Patti Brennan. And that is, if I'm listening and I'm thinking, I want what Key Financial has, who are your clients? How do I know if it's got to be a good fit both ways, right? It's got to fit for me and my family. It's got to fit for you and your firm. What's the right fit for you and your firm?
It's really interesting. I don't judge people by how much money they have. Everybody who calls in, we have a phone call with. And my goal, whether it's a phone call or a face-to-face meeting, my goal is to explain or to uncover 3 things that you didn't know about your personal situation that you could be doing a little bit better, or some ideas that you didn't know before you walked in my office. That's my goal. At the end of the meeting, once we've kind of gone through those things, we're going to kind of know, gee, was that enough? Or would it make sense for me to run some numbers, et cetera? And we just kind of know that. I do not take on clients unless I feel like I can justify my presence in their lives. I won't do it. That's why I think we have such a great reputation, because a lot of times people will call or come in and I'll say, why don't you do these 3 things? It's low-hanging fruit. Do these things first. Give me a call in a year or 2. Let me know how you're doing. We're not going anywhere. And then we can continue the conversation.
So that's a door that's open.
It's a door that's open. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's what I would want if someone were, if I were.
What a way to run a business, the way you would want to be treated.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't know how to top that, so I think we're going to end this there. She is Patti Brennan. She's the CEO of Key Financial. It's a wealth management firm at keyfinancialinc.com. Patti, thank you so much for joining me.
Greg, this was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Fun for me, too. Let's do it again soon.
Outstanding. Good deal. Okay.
Thank you for listening to this Encore podcast presentation from Forbes Books at ForbesBooks.com.